The following program may contain subject matter and language suitable for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
And welcome to episode 9 of season 6 of the Meltdown. My name is Norm.
My name is Jeff.
And today we're going to get down and dirty and talk about my favorite topic in the whole world, and that, of course, is sex. So today we've got some interesting facts about sex. Plus we've got Lou Saracino here with another Meltdown Minute with Lou. And then we're going to look at some stupid questions that people have asked about sex. Now, I guess it depends on where you get your education. But, you know, most of us, I don't know, when I was growing up, I learned a lot of stuff through the very limited sex ed class in school, but mostly from my friends, mostly from certain magazines and periodicals. Mad Magazine, sure. I mean, you know, whenever there's a reference to it or whenever there's whatever, you kind of take that and you store that in your brain, and that becomes part of what you think sex is all about. But let's start the show the way we always do, with some Meltdown sex fun facts. All right, so we've got 10 surprising sex facts about men and women. Okay, and because, you know, we're focusing on sex and romance today, we're going to break these up, so we're going to have a few facts about romance as well. But let's start off with 10 surprising sex facts about men and women. Number 1, infertility is far more common than you may think. Infertility can be devastating, but research suggests it's far more common than you may think. For example, a study published earlier this year found that infertility impacts 1 in 8 women. And the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that about 6% of married women aged 15 to 44 are still unable to get pregnant after a year of unprotected sex. And about 12% of women have difficulty carrying a pregnancy to a full term. So that's unfortunate. And especially when you know people are trying to get pregnant. We actually have friends that are trying. And, you know, she's getting a little bit up there. And as you know, the odds rapidly decrease, you know, every year you get older. All right, moving on. Number 2, women think about sex a lot. Society may make women out to be dainty flowers who wouldn't dare have sexy thoughts on their own, but in reality they think about sex a lot and would like to have more of it. For example, one recent survey found that about 53% of women were not having as much sex as they would like. And nearly 75% of women involved in the survey expressed a desire to make love at least 3 times a week.
3 times a week, that seems about average.
Okay, here's another one. Number 3, simultaneous orgasms are extremely rare. Orgasming at the same time as your partner is so rare that most individuals will never experience this in their lifetime. In fact, orgasming at all should be considered an achievement, especially for women. Jezebel reported that roughly 75% of men in relationships always have an orgasm with their partner, compared to 30% of women. I think this is number 4. Sex can improve memory in women. A recent study found that frequent penis and vagina sex can also help improve a woman's ability to remember words and phrases. It does this by increasing the blood flow to the hippocampal region of the brain, and although the same can be accomplished via any aerobic activity, it's far more fun to have sex. And so women, you know, they say it increases the memory. Penis and vagina sex, you know, allows you to remember words and phrases like penis and vagina. And
Oh, yeah.
let's do it again, baby. And, stuff like that. Here is one. We're going to talk about speed a little bit here for fact number 5. Sperm is fast. Though sperm might look quite stationary outside of the body, once inside of a woman, they can swim pretty fast. According to the Naked Scientist, sperm can travel up to 5 millimeters per minute, which, if scaled up to size, would be equivalent to a salmon swimming 500 miles per hour or a whale swimming 15,000 miles per hour. Ejaculate is even faster, coming at a reported 28 miles per hour. I like that. Ejaculate is faster coming at. Because, do you get it?
Yeah, I get it.
I don't want to dwell.
There's a lot of sexual puns out there.
Oh, there's a shit ton. And will this show be rife with them? Of course. It's the Meltdown. We like to have fun. Here is numero 6. Apples are aphrodisiacs. Did you know that, Jeff?
Well, it's sort of, that sort of makes sense.
Does it? Well, let's find out why it makes sense.
All right.
We've all heard of aphrodisiacs such as strawberries and oysters helping to put men and women in the mood, but what about apples? One 2014 study found that women who ate apples more than once a day reported better self-lubrication and overall sexual function compared to women who ate less than one apple a day. So, you know what they say, right? Number 7, period sex is fun sex. And we don't mean dressing up in period costuming.
Although that can,
Who knows, role-playing?
I mean, Christopher Marlowe.
I don't know if I'd want to have sex with my wife if she was pretending to be Christopher Marlowe. But yes.
How about Lady Macbeth? I don't know.
That's better. So period sex is fun sex. While taboo, sex on a woman's period is actually far more common and enjoyable than you may have been led to believe. Though messy, some say the extra lubrication during period sex actually makes it feel better. Make sure you use protection because it's still possible to get pregnant when you're on your period. All right, here is number 8. Yes, number 8. There are 2 types of female orgasms. I knew this. Did you know that? Of course, we all knew that. Well, orgasms are pretty straight up for men. With women, they are a bit more complicated. In fact, women can have 2 types of orgasms, vaginal and clitoral. Though both are enjoyable on their own, when done together, the experience can be quite eye-opening, or I would have written eye-rolling. Like, oh, samba. I always say that. Do you always say that when at the end, samba, ooh, samba? No, never? Is that weird?
Maybe I should.
Ooh, samba! Okay, if that's strange, I'm going to stop doing it.
No, I don't think it's strange. I just never heard of anybody doing that, that's all.
Oh, that's weird. I'm going to have to look that up. Here's our 9th fact. Women are more attractive when they ovulate. Huh? Although they are not aware of it, until now, although they are not aware of it, men are subconsciously more attracted to women during their ovulation. In fact, exotic dancers actually earn more money during this week in the month than any other. And here's our last fact, our last sex fact today. And this one, I had no clue about. Jeff, you can tell me if you've heard of this, but have sex with socks on. If you're having trouble reaching an orgasm while having sex, try slipping on a pair of socks. Research has suggested that it's easier to come when your feet are warm. All right, very quickly, before we go to Luigi Saracino, I have got the 10 most romantic facts of all time. Number 1, hugs can make you live longer. Researchers at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, found that couples who hugged for just 20 seconds at the end of the day had lower heart rates and blood pressure compared to couples who didn't, both of which are psychological stress reactions that could lead to heart disorders. Number 2, cuddling can alleviate headaches. Oxytocin, or the love hormone, which releases when hugging and kissing loved ones, has been shown to treat headaches. Kissing can reduce stress. Research shows that cortisol, a stress hormone, lowers in couples when they kiss. Also cool, the mid-kiss decline in cortisol levels actually increases in longer relationships. Another one, couples can sync up their heart rates by staring into each other's eyes. Jeff and I will not demonstrate. In a limited study, 32 heterosexual couples were made to calmly gaze at each other for 3 minutes to see if their heart activity would adjust to coordinate. They did. Here's another one. Just looking at a loved one's photograph can be enough to relieve physical pain. Volunteers in a 2009 experiment reported feeling less physical pain while a moderately painful heart stimuli was administered to their arms if they were looking at photographs of their boyfriends versus looking at photographs of strangers. Similar results were seen while holding their boyfriend's hand. Here's a neat one. Love at first sight, as we know it, can happen as quickly as in 1/5 of a second. One study showed the release of dopamine, oxytocin, adrenaline, and other hormones associated with love just 0.2 seconds after initial visual contact. And let me see. Your brain is wired to think obsessively about the object of your affection, at least in the early stages of that affection. Studies show that serotonin, a calming hormone, levels dropped in people who had recently fallen in love, which is also what happens in people diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder. Here's another one. The early stages of love make you a less productive person. In a 2013 study, participants in a new relationship showed low cognitive control. For example, weakened concentration and less of an ability to perform specific tasks. Too busy thinking about love. And here's our second last one. Initial attraction isn't everything. In a Match.com survey of 5,200 single Americans, 35% of men and women said they fell in love with people they didn't immediately find attractive. More than half of those people said attraction came after engaging conversation and shared interests. And this last romantic fact is really just a sweet one. Joe DiMaggio sent flowers to Marilyn Monroe's grave twice a week for 20 years. This despite their messy divorce following a 2-year marriage. That's very, very romantic. I don't know about you, Jeff, but my heart is swelling. Now, let us deflate that a little bit with a Meltdown Minute with Lou.
Hey everybody, we're talking about sex today. Man, have I got a lot to say about sex. Sex is a driving evolutionary force, right? Like breathing, or feeding yourself, or finding shelter, or getting a good deal on Black Friday. Very, very important. Sex drives us. In preparing for the show, we came across some pretty interesting facts, which Norm and Jeff also discussed. There was a tweet from someone, and the question, my hand to God, and you probably saw, was what are the advantages and disadvantages of incest? Let's unpack that, shall we? First of all, there are no advantages, right? That I can tell you right now, okay? First of all, the Christmas card is going to be weird as fuck. That's the first thing. Disadvantages, the one that comes to mind almost immediately is Three-Eyed Baby. That's the first one that comes to mind. Baby with gills, that's another one that comes to mind. Don't sleep with your own family. I can't believe I have to explain this.
Thank you very much, Lou. And now for some Meltdown sex stupidness. We have 10 mind-numbingly stupid sex questions that people actually had to ask on Yahoo Answers. These are graphics. Take a look at your screen. Jeff and I will check them out here. First question, what is the effect of excessive masturbating? I'm a boy of 18 years and I'm doing masturbating. From several years now, I am feeling some changes in my body, like my body is not growing as previously. After sex, I have a slate plane, blah, blah, blah. I don't even want to read the rest of this because, you know, masturbation is not your issue. English is your issue. Okay. Number 2.
Maybe he could speak more properly if he wasn't, you know.
Always doing that. Here's a number 2. What are the advantages and disadvantages of incest? How do you answer this? Don't be asking this question.
Well, here are the disadvantages. That part's easy to answer.
Oh my God. All right, wait a second. Let me open it. Number 3. It's okay to touch yourself when you hear your parents have sex? No, it's not. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, in fact, I'd move down the hall.
Yes.
To a room far, far away. Not that it's anything wrong with my parents having sex.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. I just don't want to hear it. I want to move far away from it.
That's right. Here's number 4. If my girlfriend sneezes after sex, will it keep her from getting pregnant? Well,
We had all the cautions. I had the condom on and everything. You know, and he sneezed, and that just ruined everything. All that safe sex for nothing.
here's another one. My clitada hurts. I don't know if this person got a response, because probably most people just said, what the fuck is that? What, a tostado? I don't
I'll
understand.
have a potato with extra onions, please.
Sounds like a meal I'd be interested in. Okay. Moving on. Moving on. Here's another one. What would most likely happen if I stuck a curling iron up my butthole?
Especially if it's on.
Well,
It's plugged in.
listen, I think, first of all, even if it wasn't, you're going to damage something. And if it is plugged in, well, I don't know. You're going to cauterize your ass to the curling iron, and it will become a permanent fixture.
You have to get custom-made pants and
Yeah. Yeah.
wear loose skirts.
I think there are some things you can imagine without having to ask, but these were asked on Yahoo Answers. Here's another one. How do I get pizza crust out of my anus? Well, more importantly, the question is, why the fuck would you put pizza crust in your anus in the first place?
Actually, take the curling iron, make sure it's on.
Yeah.
Sticks to the crust.
Yeah, and you'll have more melted cheese, and you can say, hey, bonus. Here's another one. Will getting an abortion make me back into a virgin? Yeah. Again, I think your first issue is English, and then afterwards you can deal with this.
A lot of these questions are poorly written. The grammar is atrocious.
Well, you know, again, it depends where you get your education, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. I caught my son having sex with a guy, and I think he might be gay. Is there a definitive way I can tell? A very well-written question, by the way, just not well thought out. And here's our last one. What the heck is a masturbate? You know?
Master of the house, keeper of the inn. Have you never heard that song before?
Yes, I have. What the heck is that? What is a masturbate anyway? Well, that's it for this episode of The Meltdown. This was the sex episode. Next week, my amazingly number 1 favorite topic, space, the final frontier. And this is an extra special episode because it's all things space. Lou Saracino will be sitting with us live right here in this tiny little, I don't know, maybe he's going to sit behind us and his head is just going to be here. But we'll make room for Lou, and we're going to be talking all things space. And we've got some neat space facts as well as some stupid space things. So please join us next week for the space episode, our final episode of this season. And we will see you then. I'm Norm.
I'm Jeff.
Cheers.